What is shaking, you guys? Welcome back to the Let's Go Win podcast, where we are here to help you be happy, healthy, wealthy, and get better every single day. The interview we're going to have today is a continuation of the series on dentistry, and the woman I'm going to bring on is an absolute powerhouse. You're going to love her. Dr. Jodi Danna of Stonebriar Smile Design in Frisco, Texas, is a highly accomplished dentist committed to advancing modern dentistry for life-changing results. With over 25 years of experience and numerous professional accolades, she practices a comprehensive approach to whole health dentistry. Dr. Danna is dedicated to ongoing education and mentoring aspiring dental professionals. I am so happy to welcome somebody that's quickly become a good friend of mine. She's just got a ton of energy. You guys are going to have a great time. Jodi, what's up? How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. As I told you off air, it's actually my birthday today. And I don't, it's funny. I'm not a big birthday guy, but there's a certain energy going on today. So anyway,
I get to share that special day with you. Thank you so much, Jay.
See, and I was just going to say the same. I get to share it with you. So we're already off to a good start.
Good start.
Yeah, today the idea is to talk about innovative patient experience in dentistry, and I know we'll definitely get into that. I want to start with, just because maybe not everybody knows you, tell them a little bit, why dentistry? What was your, man, this is my path. This is where I'm going.
Well, it's super funny. So I grew up with a single mom. My father passed away when I was pretty young, and my mom worked for a dentist as his bookkeeper. And we would go, my brother and I, while she was doing her work at the dental office, and we would sit and talk to Dr. West. And he'd let me go and be inside the treatment room and let me ask him a ton of questions. And by the age of 13, I knew I wanted to be a dentist. I had a great mentor in him. All I can really remember was how big his hands were. It was so big. And I thought, I think I can be a really good dentist because I have really small hands. So I was the first person in my family to become a doctor. And so I've taken that and blessed it proudly.
Well, maybe I'll go with, because we're talking about hand size, and then we're talking about innovation. My uncle is 6'6". He's about 350 at the time, 380. He's a big dude. I'm the smallest guy in my family. It's not even close. So the hand question, has it become easier with tools? Because I imagine those big mitts being in someone's mouth. Maybe it's a weird question, but I'm not a dentist. I'm not a doctor. So has it become easier with some of these tools?
Well, yes and no. So what we've learned is back when I was in dental school, the instruments are basically the same. And there's a ton of instruments to choose from, and it really matters what works for you. What changed from an ergonomic perspective is the instruments used to be super skinny and now they're fat, so they are a little bit easier to handle. The hand pieces are much smaller in head size, so it makes the overall patient experience so much better because we've tried to make everything a little bit smaller. But when you have, some people have super small mouths. I know that this is a shock to everyone, but I really do have a small mouth, even though it doesn't appear that I have a small mouth. And I'll tell you a quick story about that. So we sat in alphabetical order in dental school, and we had to learn to take impressions on each other. And I told my partner, hey, Mark, I'm just going to tell you I have a super small mouth. And he's like, mm-hmm. So he had to get out this pedo tray for me, and he took my impression, and he goes, gosh, Jodi, I can't believe so much shit comes out of such a little bitty mouth. So I very well do have a small mouth. And it does make a difference when you're using smaller stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like you said, so they become bigger handles, easier to hold, yet smaller tools.
Yes.
I want to talk really quick, and again, I know we're technology, and I try to stay focused, but I could talk to you on so many different things.
Sure.
But you said the word mentor, and this is one of the things that I find in not just dentistry, I mean any business. When I find people are really successful, the common thread is they have a mentor that has really put their arm around them and said, look, I want to see you succeed.
Absolutely.
How talk to me more about that. And is that something, a role that you've also really, I know you're a coach and I know you do some amazing things with Sunrise, but I'm curious. Is that something that you really said? Thank you so much. I think you said Dr. West,
Mhm.
and I wanna do that for someone else as well.
Yes. Mentoring is super, super, it's just so important to find someone that you can relate to and to go back and ask those questions. And you need really multiple mentors because you're going to get mentored on different, whether it's financial, whether it's practice philosophy, whether it's how to manage your practice, how to deal with the other doctors that you refer to. You're going to find someone that you relate to, whether it's your specialist that you utilize at your office, that you can call at the drop of a hat when you have a question. That's what mentoring is all about. For me, it's giving back. I have been very lucky in my life, and I am proud of what I've accomplished, and I want to be able to give that back to younger dental students. So I always go to Baylor and give a lecture to the female dentist about doing it all, whether that means owning a practice, being a mother, being a spouse, and how to incorporate that into having a successful dental practice. So mentoring is very important. And so many of the dental societies and the other outside agencies that we work with, that's very important for them as well. So we have a senior dental student matched up with a practicing dentist that is seasoned. We have mentors from younger dentists mentoring other younger dentists. So there's so many opportunities out there to get your questions answered that don't necessarily have to cost you any money. It's about becoming a friend with that person in order to get the information you need.
Yeah, I want to run something by you because in other businesses, I have implemented what's called reverse mentoring. Now, specific to the technology thing, this is where I see the huge advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Brand new associate or brand new dentist walks through the door. Obviously, the veteran dentist has been doing it 30, 40 years. They have so much to offer, so many lessons, so many experiences. However, the brand new person that just is working with AI or working with technology, they have grown up in a world with the cell phone, right? Where I certainly didn't growing up, and they have a different relationship with technology. To keep this simple for a second, and what I'm throwing your way, and what I'm curious to see is, I see mentoring where there's so much benefit from both sides,
One.
where the veteran experience, knowledge, the young buck has so much technology, as the easy one I'll use, energy. How do you see that being applicable in dentistry? Is that something that people would really would they welcome that, or is that something where it's like, no, let the veterans do the traditional mentor way?
I think that depends on the person. So I'm in an office with 3 female dentists, including myself. And we have our baby dentist who's just been out for the last 5 years. And just like you said, her AI technology, her just the stuff that she does on Instagram and Facebook and all that's stuff that my Dr. Wade and I don't really care about learning per se. So we utilize her to help us with that, and we help her with the technology that we know that she wasn't able to learn while she was in dental school. So that reverse mentoring really does work as long as the senior doc or the seasoned doc is open to understanding that there is knowledge there that they can teach you as well.
I would imagine, just because, look, in any industry, you don't want to become a dinosaur. And specific to technology, look, if you don't adopt some of these things like AI, I'm guessing for some of the treatment plans, or I heard a doctor saying how much more effective AI was at capturing everything than, let's say, I don't know, looking at teeth, I'm like, great set of teeth. And you guys look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, there's problems with boom, boom, boom. And AI finds additional on top.
It does.
I guess my question or thought is, if you don't have that growth mindset, couldn't you get left behind pretty quick?
Oh, you're going to be stagnant. You're not going to be able to compete. Absolutely. We have this new technology that we've just implemented in our office, and it's called Overjet. And so it takes x-rays that date back 18 months of that patient's file, and goes back and looks at anything that may be questionable. So a patient comes into the office, we pull up the overjet, and it highlights on the x-ray itself, go look at this area, go look at this area. And you're trying to change, you're teaching that program, well, this wasn't a cavity, that's burnout, or that's something else, but it brings your eyes to those particular areas. We all know how to read x-rays. We were taught that in dental school. We've done it over time, but there's a lot of information on that AI app that gives us, it just makes you hyper-focused on specific areas, even down to the amount of bone loss or the amount of calculus that's on a tooth. It's amazing.
How do you keep up with it all? Because again, with convergent technologies, I mean, my gosh, we're seeing so much rapid growth. And I just imagine at some point, even ChatGPT was the first AI where it's like, okay, this is AI, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. Well, within like 6 months, I mean, there was 1,000 different offerings of AI. I'm curious, specific in the dental world, what's your process look like to say, look, we want to be cutting edge, and yet we also don't want to get overwhelmed and just shiny new object. What does that look like for you?
Well, I can assure you that every dentist that listens to this podcast has bought a ton of toys that they sit in a box and they don't use. So you have to be very mindful of what you're implementing at your office. So we all have continuing education requirements based on the type of office that you personally want to have. You're going to go learn those techniques because consumers are smarter and smarter and smarter. And if you're stagnant, your office is going to get left behind. I don't care how great of a dentist you are. I don't care how great of a dentist. The consumers are smart, and they're going to look for someone that can give them the information that they're reading about on Google or on the internet. So you have to keep up with the technology.
We talked about having a mentor. I talked to Dr. Christian Yaste, and one of the things he talked about is it can be overwhelming.
It is.
What does that look like for you to say, look, is there a vetting process? Is it reaching out to fellow doctors, say, hey, this tool is working? What does that look like? Because again, I know for me when I hear this cool thing, I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have time to vet it all out. So I start to reach out to my people. Does that look similar in your world, or what's your process?
It does. So, all this new technology comes out. Your rep for your dental supplies comes by your office, whether it's once a month, every twice a month, however much. And they're bringing this information to you. Hey, we're looking into having this. We would like for you to look at it. If it's something that you are interested in, we bring that company in. We do a lunch and learn. We learn about it. We find out whether or not it's something that we want to do. And then we either implement it or we don't implement it. There's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of things that can waste your time. You have to be able to communicate with the people. If that company comes out and does a lunch and learn for me about a new product, I'm going to ask them who's using this already. Most likely there's some names. If those dentists are really on the same level of where you are, most likely you're going to know some names that are on that list of people that are already using that technology. And you're going to call them and you're going to say, hey, is this something worth it? Are you utilizing it? What's the downsides? Do your research. You have to do your research before you spend the money, because I've spent so much money on toys that I never use again. And it's expensive. So do your research and don't make that shoot from the hip. I'm going to buy it because it looks cool, because it doesn't look cool if it's sitting on the shelf.
Yeah, those boxes of tens and thousands of dollars, that's not cool, man. That doesn't look cool at all.
No.
I want to talk, you said the word communication. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite words, also one of the most challenging words when it comes to, again, not just dentistry, any business, but one of the things I've found since I've been in this world, the communication between front and back, huge, and seems to be challenging. In your experience, because again, you said I have this little mouth, but I would say my time spent with you, you are a great communicator. What does that look like? Is there a specific process? Is it literally check-ins? How do you communicate? Because let's just take the new tool. Okay, got a new cool tool. Now we have to communicate it all the way down so everyone is aware of not only do we have it, but here's why.
Well,
Do you have a
yes, we
yeah.
want our team to understand what the technology is about, because from the front desk to in the chair, you want to be talking about that. If a new patient calls the office and that front office person is interviewing that patient and trying to make that patient feel comfortable about making a new appointment with you, talk about the things that we have at the office. Oh my gosh, Dr. Danna is so excited about bringing this AI technology. You're interviewing those people, but those people are interviewing you. So if your whole entire team doesn't understand what you've brought to the office, you've lost, because that new patient could be a younger patient that is thrilled with AI. And if that front office team didn't talk about it, they're not going to make an appointment. In the back, when the dental assistants or the hygienists are doing their work, they have to be excited in front of the patient and be able to talk to them about the new AI. And then follow that back up with, well, we all know that in order for the patient to really understand what's going on, they have to hear it 3 times. So they've heard it from the front desk, they've heard it from the assistant and the hygienist, and then they come together and it culminates into hearing it from me. We are a team. We're all on board with this, and we're proud to have this in our office.
Yeah, let's get granular for a second on this, because it's easy to say, hey, go communicate to your team, right? And often I'll get caught with this when it's like, look, let's get the logistics figured out. What does that look like? Do you have your morning check-ins? Do you have weekly meetings? Is it all of the above and then some? Because one of the things you mentioned is 3 times. And anybody, marketing teams know this. You want people to hear it anywhere from 3 to 7 times. So Jodi's saying, look, front says it, then perhaps the hygienist says it, then the doctor says it, then lastly, the person at the end of it all says it. So maybe you can even hit them 4 times. So I kind of wrapped that in several questions, but I guess your communication process, your system, is it checking in every single day? Is it doing those weekly meetings? What does that look like so you do stay on the same page?
So for us, every morning we have a morning huddle, 15 minutes, short and sweet. The hygienists are in charge of printing out their AI report for all those patients that are coming in today. So those hygienists, when they're talking about their appointments, they will say, AI pulled up, look at tooth number 15 on so-and-so. And then they go through the gambit. Then we go into the room and the hygienist reminds us again, AI pulled up. That gives me the opportunity to pull that up on the big screen and show what AI is showing to the patient right in front of them. So they get a bird's eye view of what's going on. So we have a morning huddle. Then we have a weekly team meeting. Then we have a business office only meeting. Then we have a clinical team meeting. And so we have a lot of meetings, but they're all scheduled within a month. And then we have an entire team meeting.
Let's talk about the meeting specifically, because when you say the word meeting, often people roll their eyes and they're like, oh God, I got to go through another meeting. But I'm guessing, I've never gone through one of your meetings, but I'm guessing you keep it pretty fresh, keep it pretty entertaining. What does the cadence look like, is the word I use, so that you do keep it somewhat entertaining, engaging, so people want to be there, not just because you said so?
So we have an agenda. So everybody has the agenda prior to the meeting starting. Everyone has a role. One person, the scribe, is the one that rotates. So everyone gets to be a scribe and they get to participate. So everyone has a role. We keep it as short and sweet as possible. We make it fun and entertaining. We start off every meeting with, I like. I need you to tell me something positive that you like that's happening. I don't care if somebody goes, I like that Val today attempted to do a temporary crown. She's our new baby dental assistant that just graduated from dental assisting school. So she's learning from our senior dental assistants how to do this. And we want them to have a positive spin at the beginning of the meeting. And it works for us. Short, sweet, but it's good. Focused, hyper-focused.
So we start with the wins. Everybody has to participate, is what I heard.
Yep.
And, again, I am a huge fan of AEIO. I've talked about it before, but you're basically doing the exact same thing. You're saying, look, because here's the thing: the three most effective teams, the most effective teams in the world have three things. They have trust, psychological safety, and equal speaking time in meetings. And it sounds like you figured that out, whether you knew that from Google or not. Was that just a learned practice, or how did you come about that?
It came from my coach. So when I first opened up my practice, I started all by myself, just open the doors and hope they will come. I was born and raised in the Dallas area, so I knew a lot of people. So we started with that, and we plugged along, and we did very well. And then we said, I know we can do better. So we brought in a coach, and that coach brought my office from this to this. And then me becoming a DISC facilitator and learning what DISC does and learning about people's personality styles have led me to appreciate other people's personalities and how they appreciate learning. Because some people don't like learning on the fly. Some people need time to think about the changes that are going to be happening. And if you really love your team and you know that that's who you want at your office, you're going to do everything you can to protect them and meet them where they're at. Yes, I know docs think it's my office, we're going to do it my way or the highway. But unless you have an open mind and you are understanding of what your team is needing from you, you're not going to be successful, because you're going to have that open door of people coming in and out all the time. And three of my employees have been with me for over 25 years. So we've done something right. We've learned it together. We know how to help the other new assistants or hygienists come in and be successful. And it's up to them at that point, because we feel like we've given them the tools at our office to be successful.
I want to dive into this because you're talking about retention. You're talking about a really, I don't have to walk through the door. I already feel the culture. Now, here's what I'm going to get to. When you first meet Jodi, you're going to think, oh my gosh, sunshine and rainbows. She sees the world. It's roses. And that's true. You have that outlook in life. However, it hasn't always been smooth. It's not like it always is going to be sunshine and rainbows. That doesn't exist. And my point here is that you make a very concerted, conscious effort that I'm going to show up in this amazing way. Yeah. Kudos to you. My point is, I also learned in a very short time with you that you're willing to be vulnerable, that you're willing to open up. And without talking to the people that have been with you 25 plus years, that's why you allow them to know Jodi deeper than just I'm the doctor, yes, but rather here's my story. Talk to me about that a little bit, because often when I see people that have thriving practices, it's because they have the ability to do the soft skills, quote unquote, really let people into their lives and show that I'm more than just a doctor. I'm more than a dentist. I have a family. I have dreams. I have hopes. I have adversities. When I say all that, and again, it's up to you to share whatever you want, but I have to imagine you've let the people in, and that's why there's such stickiness with them staying with you so long.
That's true. You come out of dental school and you're trying your hardest to be successful, and you're trying to figure out what's working and what's not working. And I learned early on, in order for the team to have skin in the game, I have to give them the information in order for them to have skin in the game. So we have goal boards. They know what the production and collection is, where we're sitting as far as whether we're loose or whether we need more. They get excited when we make goal. We reward them for when they make goal, because we want them to know we can't do this. And docs, we can't do this without them. You don't have to be their friend. You have to be honest. You have to be protectors. If a patient treats them ugly, they have to know you have their back. And I have said, when a patient has come in and been not very nice, I've gone in and had a conversation with them and told the patient, you're not going to speak to my team like that. If this isn't the office for you, we respect that 100%, but you are going to respect my team, not just me, but my team. We are a team. And when you believe in your heart that the people that work for you feel that way, then you know that that person is going to stay with you for a long time because they feel safe and they feel loved and they feel appreciated. And it is about appreciation. It really is, because I can't do anything without them.
Yeah, it's the number one thing that any business can do. Just literally appreciate, recognize, give your people the love that they deserve. And I guess that's the part where I find most business owners where I'm like, look, just be a human being.
Yeah.
Genuinely care about that person that's given on both sides, both the patient and
100%.
the teammate.
I do know that that's harder for some people than others. You know, you don't have to be outgoing or have that vibrant personality to be appreciative of the people that are helping you at the office.
Yeah, no, it's literally as simple as saying, I see you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I want to ask specifically to coming in what was at one point predominantly a male-dominated industry with doctors.
Yes.
I'll speak to that specifically. But I notice, at least within Sunrise, I've noticed that there is an uptick of female dentists and doctors. What was that experience like for you? What do you see happening? Is there a shift? And obviously, it's interesting because I come from the financial service world, which traditionally was what I called male, pale, and stale,
Sure.
right? And then my specific companies, we absolutely grew to where we had actually more women than men in our firm. So what do you see happening in the industry now? And has it shifted?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So in my dental school year, we were the first class at Baylor that were 50-50. There were 50% women, 50% male. The professors were not happy at all that a female was taking the spot of a male. And they made that very well known. All you're looking for is a husband. You're going to come in. You're taking a spot. It was very well known and very openly said to us on a daily basis that we were taking a spot. I was a little bit different of a situation because I was already married going into dental school. So my answer back was, I'm not looking for a husband, I already got one. But it has shifted. It definitely has shifted. There's still people out there with that mindset that women shouldn't be doing that. But I believe that, I'm very involved politically with my association. There are so many female leaders in our organization. There's so many female young dentists that are holding positions of value within this organization, whether it be at your state level, your local level, or the national level. It has made a big change, and the shift is real. And the new people coming out don't necessarily feel the things that I went through whenever I was going to dental school.
Well, good on you to continue to push that. I think it's important. The other part, when I've walked through, and again, I'm going to generalize, but it is when you walk through the doors, it is more of a female environment because often, the other staff, I've noticed it's almost 80% at sometimes as high as 90.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring this up is, shocker, guys, we aren't always great communicating with females and vice versa, because there is a different way. Just like you said, you're married, typically your husband's probably pretty one-track mind.
Yeah.
You have like 30 juggling things going on at one time.
I do.
So there is a difference the way we communicate, the way we see the world.
Yes.
Not something new, not the first time to point it out. But I want to get into, how do you better work within this so that we can perform, that we can show that appreciation? Is there anything when you look at it and you go, gosh, if I could change this specific to this one subject, how can we best work with one another so that whether you're male or female, again, back to that communication piece, that we're not miscommunicating? Because I don't know about your husband and you, but it took my wife and I a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
In business, that's not good. You want to be able to figure it out fast.
Exactly. So I have been the proud owner of 2 males that have worked for me. One was a front office person, one was a hygienist. They no longer work for me, but for different reasons. They both moved to other places. And it was very difficult for me because you have all of the things that we did to celebrate, going to the spa and doing something else. Well, when you put a male into the mix, are they going to be super excited about going to the spa? But it goes back to communication and finding out what that person really likes, getting to know them. So we always have lunch together as a team. It's 30 minutes. And we sit there and we chit chat and we talk all the time. What's going on in your world? What's going on here? What do you enjoy doing? We have questionnaires that we ask people once a year what matters most to them and what they like, from down to a candy bar to their favorite song to what their favorite TV show is. And so during the course of the year, if we've done something good, if somebody likes something, they love to go to the spa, then they get a spa gift card. If Jacob, my hygienist that used to work for me, he loved going out to eat at a restaurant. Well, his gift card was the favorite restaurant that he put on his list to do. You just find out what matters to them and learn what matters. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stop doing a spa day, because I'm sure, Jay, you love going to the spa. My husband loves going to the spa, but how will you know that unless that question is asked? So you don't have to leave them out as long as you're communicating with them.
Yeah, and I really like that because, again, you're getting to know the person deeper than that surface level. I want to take this to the patient experience because I'm guessing you also apply that to Mrs. Smith. You know that Mrs. Smith has 3 kids and 2 cats, and she's passionate about whatever. My question specifically is, okay, cool, we learned this. Do you put it in a CRM so that we capture it and we can recognize it, so that now Jacob's no longer here because he moved to, Alabama. Okay, cool. Now we want the next Jacob, whoever that is, to be able to know that as well. What does that look like, getting back to the technology piece, using it to our advantage?
So for us, it is on a bulletin board in our team lounge. Every single person, what they like. And so if it is Sabra's birthday today and somebody else in the office wants to get Sabra something, they can go to that list and see that Sabra's favorite candy is Lindt chocolate, and then bring Sabra that Lindt chocolate for the day. So everybody knows what everybody likes every single year because it changes. So that's how we do it. From a patient perspective, when we're sitting there getting to know patients and, oh, you're going to France next week. Okay, so we have it's not a paper, it's in our software, and we call it personal interest. So every single time some patient comes in, they're listening to what that patient is telling them, and they're putting it on the personal interest. So just because Cheryl saw this patient today to find out that they went to France, if Sabra came back and saw them 6 months later, they can see on the personal interest that that patient has been to France and go, oh my gosh, Cheryl told me you guys were going to France. How was that? What was your favorite part? People are floored that you've taken that extra time to get to know who they are. My son's a elite baseball player, or my daughter is a competitive cheerleader. Well, how did she do at NCA last year for the cheerleading competition? People it's so simple to meet them where they're at, because that lets people know that you care about them personally and that you're invested in them just as they are invested in me. I'll give you, for instance, I've had 2 patients that have been patients of mine forever, spent a lot of money with me doing work. I just found out that she did birdhouses. I don't need any birdhouses, but I bought 3 birdhouses from her yesterday because she has supported me for years in my business, and I want her to know that I'm supporting her too. So I'm going to go put these birdhouses on these trees outside because I got those birdhouses, and it's cool. When she came in and she was so prideful. Of course, I'm going to buy those birdhouses.
So one of the things I'm hearing, again, I can't help but put my sales hat on. It's if you ever go to a Ritz-Carlton, it's the Ritz-Carlton experience. Now, why do I bring up the Ritz-Carlton? You would spend the extra, I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be certainly $500 more per night than some other place, but you do it because of the experience. I'm not suggesting this is all clients. However, or all patients. I got to get better with that. All patients. But what I will say, and you said that she spent a lot of money with me. When it comes to sales, guys, by giving that personal touch, by saying your elite baseball player or the birdhouse, when you genuinely give back, when you genuinely take an interest in who they are, you will close at a 80% higher, 30% more money.
Right.
And ultimately, we are in the business of making money. Now, you're giving them a more pleasant experience. They're spending more money. It's a win-win.
100%.
Yet often I see this is where people are like, well, my job is just to drill, take care of the cavity, and you're done. And I'm telling you, and that's exactly what I heard from you, which is no, you're missing the boat.
You are.
Give that extra personal loving care.
But you have to decide what kind of doctor you want to be. I mean, you really have to think really long and hard, because there's a lot of dentists that are out there that just want to go to work, drill, fill, bill, and go home and shut it down. That's not the doctor that I am. That's not the doctor that I wanted to be. That is not the office that I have. That's not the office that I ever wanted. But you have to look deep into your own soul to decide, do you want to move forward? Is there a goal that you want for yourself? When you sat back in bed and you decided, I'm going to go to dental school and I'm going to open up my own practice, what did you vision as what you wanted to accomplish? Because you can't fault the people that just like to do it that way. It's just not me. It's not what I wanted.
Let's just talk to that person for a second. The person that just wants to, what'd you say, drill?
Drill them, fill them, and bill them.
But you also said something early in the episode. You're like, look, you don't have to be the most dynamic person to recognize. Here's my point, and I want you to dive into this a little bit.
Okay.
So let's just say I'm talking to the very analytical, we'll call them an introvert for lack of a better term. And they just want to do the drill and bill thing. That's all they want to do. You can empower your team to do this for you, to take the extra care. I hope doctors are listening for a second. Empower your team to say, look, we know that we're going to have higher retention. We're going to have more customer referrals. We're going to have all these amazing things, but it's not my personality. There's a solution. Empower your team to do it for you. Be really good at drilling, filling, and billing, but they can give that extra TLC. Have you seen it work that way, Jodi? Because I've seen it. I've personally done it. I haven't always been wanting to go the extra mile, but my team certainly can.
Absolutely. And I'm actually a coach for one of those doctors right now. Super quiet, very introverted, but he has placed himself with team members that are very extroverted. So the experience in his particular office, I wouldn't say it was the same as mine, but you feel the energy. Even though he personally is super quiet, he still gets himself out of the box enough to when his team members prompt him on, just want you to know, Joe is coming in at 10 o'clock. I read that he went to Spain last year. So he now knows, talk to that patient about Spain. Even though he's super quiet, he knows to take the lead from his team members to, even if it's asking one question, and he's super quiet and he's not engaging with that patient still knows he took the time enough to remember they went to Spain. And he didn't even know they went to Spain. But the patient thinks that he knew that they went to Spain. So it doesn't matter whether you're introverted or not. as long as you surround yourself with the people, just like you were saying, that can help build those relationships with your patient. Even though you want to be drill, fill, and bill, your practice can be very successful.
Well, whoever that doctor is that you're coaching, good job on him to say, I recognize this isn't a strength. I'm going to hire somebody to help me. And then hopefully he or she implements. I shouldn't say he.
And listen, because as we all know, we shoot our own selves in the foot. We spend money to learn how to go to coaching. We see it all the time. Doctors invest this much money going into coaching. We tell them what to do. They come to our shows or they come to our meetings and they're super excited, and they go back and it's hard for them to implement because they stand in the way of themselves of making the change for the office, because you battle with, this is my office and it's my way or the highway, or you battle with, okay, I'm spending all this money, but I don't know how to make it happen. So you have to get out of your way in order for you, if you value what your coach has told you, listen to what they have to say, because they're saying things that are going to help you be successful. So just get out of your own way.
Yeah, and that coach doesn't have that baggage. It doesn't have the scars. It doesn't have the emotional attachment. That's why that's why it's effective, right? That's why I have a coach.
Me too.
Because, yeah, of course.
Because you can make a whole lot of stuff up in your head. Oh, well, if I do this, I'm going to fail. I can spin around stuff in my brain all the time about what could, should, or would have happened. Get out of my own way. And sometimes it takes one of the other doctors, whether it's the baby doctor we have or my other senior doc. And the other senior doc that's in our practice, we were in dental school together. We were in our grad program together. So we've known each other for 30 years. And then we have our baby doctor. And we take the time to listen to what she has to say too, because what she has to say is very viable. And she's bringing patients of her age group into our practice, because we have older patients that we see. So we have to be able to meet full circle, because there are days that she's not there, and we have to be able to communicate with her younger patients as well.
See, you were reverse mentoring before you even knew that was a term, Jodi. You're on top of it.
I heard that term today.
You're already doing it. I just happened to slap a name on it. I could go a million ways, but I want to give you an open forum.
Okay.
Anything I didn't know enough to ask you that you're like, JM, I got to get this to the audience before we start to wrap up.
I would say, getting back to what our topic about is personalized care. We talked about innovative dental patient experiences, and it is all about the personalized care. And that can be something as simple as knowing where they went on vacation, to collaborating with other physicians, making sure that they know and understand the technology that they have in your office. We align ourselves with physicians in our area to talk about the inflammation markers that our patient has based on the questions that we're asking. It is getting to know the patient as a whole, from not only a personal level, but collaborating with their physicians to make sure that we're meeting their needs. I think that is something that we lose sight on, and it kind of shoots ourselves in the foot, because, medicine and dentistry have not collaborated very well in the past. And medicine is just now understanding that dentistry does have a big role in your overall health. And find those doctors that you can discuss that patient care with and collaborate with them, because that gives you back a whole ton of referrals. And we get a lot of referrals from our medical doctors to do a CT, find out where the inflammation markers are, and we collaborate with them. And I think that's where our docs are missing the boat, our dentists, is that we don't feel comfortable enough to have those collaborations.
Well, there's always a theme that comes out of it. And I can tell you right now, the two things that have hit me in the face is growth mindset, get out of your own way. So maybe it's 3, and really just connecting with another human being. Those are the 3 things that's been the theme of your career, very successful one. And here's the great news. And I mean this very, very, very positive. It's simple.
It is.
Everyone can do what you just said. I'm not saying they have the same talents and skills as you, But what you said, to have the growth and success you've had, it's those three things. Absolutely remarkable. Jodi, if people want to connect with you, they're like, I want Jodi as a coach. Like,
Oh my God.
man.
Please call me. I'd love
Yeah, where do they find you? I know you're working with Sunrise. I know you have your own practice. You got a lot of things going on.
I do,
but
you can always call me. I'll be happy to mentor you. My Sunrise email address is jodidds1@gmail.com. Reach out, ask me any questions. I'm here to help anybody out there that just needs some help. I'm always available.
Guys, take advantage. I'm telling you right now, I spent literally 24 hours and I was like, oh, this is my best friend, Jodi, by the way. She's just got that personality, and you'll learn a ton and have some fun while doing it. Jodi, thank you for coming on, sharing all your wisdom, expertise, and again, simplifying the formula, because really, I mean it as a compliment. It truly, you simplified it for me, and it's, I think it's powerful.
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate you. I appreciate being on your show. And I'm just excited about where we go from here now that you're with Sunrise too.
Oh, well, I hadn't actually told people that. So there we go. I have officially agreed. And yeah, it's exciting. So absolutely.
Everybody is so excited about you being a part of us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You guys, I mean, look, listen back to this. I'm telling you, there's the themes, and yet some of the stuff she said, it's like, wow, get out of your own way. Don't shoot yourself in the foot, which, by the way, I got to go look up. Where did that saying come from? Because I don't want to shoot myself in the foot.
Remember, I'm from Texas. We carry guns here.
Yes, you do. I'm from Montana, so I totally get that. But make sure, guys, go listen back to it. Share this with someone that you care about. Share this with, whether it's a doctor or it's a dentist, it's a business. It doesn't matter. This is so applicable to anyone. Make sure to share this out. Until next time, remember, your mindset matters. I appreciate you all so much.